She wove steady hours into quiet abundance, and some would say a small joy can hold a life. It is told that in a valley where the river knew the same song each year, a weaver named Mira kept her loom by the window and worked the same hours from sunrise to rest, and the cloth she made carried a calm that customers felt before they knew its price. A question unfurled. Mira rose with the first pale sky, fed the fire, and sat until the light softened, and each day she measured the warp and the weft with the care of someone who believed a life made bit by bit could be whole. Neighbors admired that her hands moved neither too quick to bruise the cloth, nor too slow to let the day slip by, and she kept a small store of coins and a basket of grain for winter. Nothing ostentatious, but nothing lacking. That rhythm became her shelter. Across the lane, a trader's house gleamed with glazed pots and copper, and rumor carried tales of golden contracts and trading caravans that never paused to rest. Some said that wealth was a tide that lifted all boats, while others whispered that tides took more than they gave. The murmurs reached Mira's ears and brought a first, small curiosity. Mira counted her coins by the hearth and found they would see her through one more winter, and she felt a quiet pride that the cloth she sold held warmth, not only for bodies but for the future. She told herself that a life made from steady hours was a life that could be passed down, a craft that would outlast feverish gain. The valley listened, patient and steady. One market day, a tall merchant arrived with a carriage of orders and a proposal: weave more, earn more. He spoke of distant shores where his cloth fetched silver, and of merchants who doubled fortunes within a season, and his words rang like a bell that begged an answer. A door opened to a choice that tasted like both hunger and promise. The merchant promised a steady stream of orders, a pile of coins for every extra hour Mira would give, and he showed sketches of fine robes that brought approval in distant courts, making the future look like a feast. Mira felt the pull of those bright sketches and measured the weight of her basket against the shimmering horizon. A decision pulsed in the quiet of her kitchen. At first, Mira added an hour at dawn and an hour after supper, and the coins did come, larger than she had seen, and neighbors praised her newfound prosperity. She bought a new dye and a spool of rare thread, and the cloth shimmered in ways that dazzled even herself. The rhythm she had kept began to bend like a reed under wind. Each added hour brought a small compromise, a missed supper with a neighbor, a skipped mending, a nap postponed, and each small compromise accumulated like dust on the beam. She told herself that these were temporary sacrifices for a larger gain. The dust whispered that small things matter. The merchant grew louder with praise and hung more orders, like garlands that demanded attention, and villagers began to call Mira a wonder of endurance, which felt like both crown and yoke. The more she received, the more the merchant expected, and the ledger of days that had once balanced began to list debts no coin could show. A strain took root beneath her hands. One night, in the squeeze of tiredness, Mira missed a knot, and a flaw crawled along a bolt of cloth like a small wound, and a buyer refused a piece when the defect was found. The merchant's voice, once warm, tightened into a ledger's coldness, and the certificates of trade began to demand perfection she no longer had to give. The bargain's shadow showed itself plainly. Some in the village began to envy her coin and forget the care she had once taken, and others murmured that she had traded craft for coin like a seed sold before harvest. Greed has a way of rearranging human eyes so that sufficiency seems like scarcity and wisdom like sloth. The valley felt the first cold of imbalance. When the loom snapped under too much haste and her hands trembled with fatigue, the noise in the market turned from praise to complaint, and the merchant's orders cooled. A broken shuttle is not only a tool's silence, but a mirror that shows what has been strained beyond its measure. The quiet that followed demanded that she look inward. Mira sat alone by the dying embers and listened to the valley's old stories, tales that taught patience, tales that warned of fortune taken too fast, and she weighed the coins against the quiet in her bones, and found that the numbers failed to add to a life. Dawn would press her to choose, and choice tastes like both fear and relief. She met the merchant at dawn and returned a stack of orders with a steady voice, saying she would honor only the number she knew she could weave with care, for coin earned by broken care would not keep bread or craft. The merchant's face held surprise and his ledger closed like an unasked question. The valley held its breath as she walked away. A new balance was set in motion. She mended the broken shuttle, tended the loom with patient hands, and returned to her measured rhythm, refusing both the rush of more and the shame of less. Neighbors saw her refuse the merchant's gilded promise, and some mocked, while others later offered help in quiet ways. The work of repair was also a work of reclaiming the self. When winter came, her stores were not the largest, but they were whole and honest. She traded cloth for grain with neighbors, and the community's exchanges felt like a tapestry rather than a ledger of profit. And she came to understand that wisdom was not the same as stinginess, and that moderation could be a form of courage. The valley warmed around the simple fire of steadiness. Word came that the finest cloaks in the valley were not those made in fever, but those made with steady hands and unhurried thought. And traders took note not because of how fast the cloth was made, but because it lasted. Mira's name moved softly like seed, carried to those who cared less for flash and more for longevity. A new reputation grew like a patient crop. Young hands came to her loom, and she taught them the rules she had learned. Work enough to be strong, rest enough to remain true, and refuse the bargains that promise more than the craft can hold. Some learned it quickly, others needed time, but each left with a pattern of temperance stitched into their palms. The lesson threaded on. Some who chased the merchant's pace found their houses bright but brittle, their wares frayed, while others who chose steady hours walked with a quieter wealth that weathered storms. The valley learned that greed is a quick fire, and wisdom a hearth that can be tended through seasons. The contrast taught more than any sermon could. In the years that followed, Mira's life did not become a legend of sudden riches, but a quiet parable of balance, steady hours, honest trade, and the courage to say no to offers that demand the soul's tempo. It is told that those who carry this counsel into their own hands keep both craft and dignity, and that is the end of the tale and the beginning of a practice. The valley kept its song, and the lesson stayed woven into every cloth.